NTA International News.
Minister of Budget and National Planning says Buhari's administration has the political will to turn around Nigeria's economy. Nigeria and Mali agree to foster ties towards tackling terrorism. Plus, Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark Humanitarian Day. Welcome. Glad to have you join us on NTA International News on this hour. My name is Justin Bem-Unyi. The General Overseer of the Latter Rain Assembly, Pastor Tunde Bakare, has expressed absolute confidence in the ability of the Buhari administration to fulfill pre-election promises and change Nigeria for the better. Addressing newsmen after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari, Pastor Bakare said change does not happen overnight, especially with the rot inherited from the last administration, hence the need for patience, understanding, and cooperation.
No pain, no gain. The years of wastage and all that we've done wrong had finally caught up with us. All we are praying for is wisdom for this government to do things right and to do the right things so that gradually we can begin to come out of the woods.
But so far, how would you rate his performance?
It's too...
The All Progressives Congress APC says the People's Democratic Party PDP lacks the moral basis and credibility to comment on the country's economy. In a statement issued by the media officer to the APC National Chairman, Segun Dekpe, Chief John Oyegun stressed that over $2.1 billion was lavished by the PDP government under the guise of purchasing arms to fight Boko Haram, adding that another $20 billion from oil proceeds was never paid to the Federation account. The statement pointed out that there is another 33 trillion national oil revenue that the PDP-led federal government never accounted for, as well as $47 million distributed to PDP faithful during the election. The APC national chairman therefore said this financial mismanagement has thrown over 170 million Nigerians to abject poverty and suffering, adding that the criticism from the PDP is just a mere distraction and the APC will not fall into their ploy. The Federal Ministry of Finance says it has been given a mandate by
stabilise state governments so they can pay salaries. Now we're working on a package to help the manufacturing sector to be able to weather the storm as well.
She said government is working assiduously to revamp the revenue sources and ensure meaningful expenditure, a move that has already yielded results. In the quest to diversify the economy, Mrs. Adeosu maintains that the fight against corruption remains fundamental. In Abuja, Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
And still on the economy, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma Udoma, says the present administration has the political will to turn around the nation's economy. The minister said this at a pre-summit workshop by the Infrastructure Public-Private Partnership Summit Group held in Abuja. Debola Brookslyn Sunday has details.
As infrastructure is key to turning around the economy of any nation, the Buhari-led administration places priority on infrastructural development. The minister says the foresight of the administration led to the largest allocation to infrastructure in the 2016 budgets.
I can assure you that there is political support at the highest level. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, is determined to turn this economy around.
The group says it's collaborating with the Ministry of Budgets and National Planning after a meeting with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
Hopefully be able to raise the level and standards of PPP delivery in Nigeria.
We lost the position as the largest economy in Africa. Infrastructure, the deficit itself, we believe is putting a brake on Nigeria's potential.
And on the recent displacement of Nigeria by South Africa as the largest economy in Africa, Senator Udoma says,
we should see it as something that should motivate all of us to work harder. Because in Nigeria, we have the potential, we have the human resources, we have the capacity, we have the energy, we have the enterprise to be clearly number one.
The Infrastructure Public-Private Partnership Summit Group is focusing on the development of power, transport, agriculture, and health sectors. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And for more stories from the financial sector, here is Shazalam Ekie.
Bank, international cocoa organizations and other relevant organizations are brainstorming on possible ways of intervention and development of the cocoa industry in Nigeria. Cocoa, which has always been the mainstay of Nigeria's economy, had immense contribution in the 1960s and 70s, hence the need to resuscitate the cocoa value chain. And to the money markets, the Naira yesterday hit a new all-time low of 365 Naira to the dollar at the interbank foreign exchange markets in a single interbank trade of $1 million. This is as the Debt Management Office raised 219.58 billion Naira in local bonds with higher yields. And from Kenya comes a report that the Central Bank of Kenya's Policy Committee will on September 20th meet to determine the benchmark interest rates for the next 2 months. The MPC, which is the independent rate-setting arm of the regulator, in its last meeting held last month, cut the rates by 0.97%. And finally, a quick look at some commodities prices. And that's Business Package. I'm Chia Zalameki. Please stay tuned for the rest of the news.
And away from the economy, Nigeria and Mali have agreed to foster stronger binational, bilateral and sub-regional cooperation in tackling the menace of terrorism. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, said this at a strategic meeting with a Malian delegation in Abuja. Gabriel Odu reports.
Nigeria and Mali established binational commissions since 1999 and have maintained a robust and excellent relation. But both ministers agree that the tenets of the binational commission have not been effectively implemented, especially in areas of security and intelligence gathering.
We're in the process of instituting far-reaching reforms of ECOWAS, and we are very much on the same page with your country on the reforms that need to be made and on the importance of sub-regional integration.
Nigerian policy toward Mali have been always a support to the unity, the territorial integrity, and the secular nature of Mali, which was really at the core of the crisis we went through. And we also know Nigeria participated financially and made pledges when we organized a conference in 2013 in Brussels for financing of development in Mali, as well as the conference held in Addis Ababa.
The meeting also discussed issues of youth unemployment and more strategic support in continental and multilateral cooperations. In Abuja, Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
Minister of State Solid Minerals Development Abubakar Bawa Buhari says the signing of the National Iron Ore Mining Company Concession Agreement marks the commencement of the process that will liberate Ajaokuta Steel Company from any arbitration encumbrance. He said this at an investigative hearing over the matter by the House Subcommittee on Privatization, Commercialization and Steel. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
Recall that the House Subcommittee on Privatization and Commercialization had a meeting with interest groups where it was agreed that the minister will have to attend to some questions concerning the signed concession. The Minister of State also said the federal government will discharge all liabilities and obligations related to NYOMCO.
Global will also discharge all its liabilities and obligations arising in respect of the concession area from the period between April 1st, 2005 and April 1st, 2008.
Chairman of the subcommittee, Babatunde Kolawole, stressed that the agreement ought to be a public document that Nigerians can access.
Nigerians want to know how this agreement will benefit them and why Global Steel Holding Limited, who created the situation in Delta Steel Company today, should be trusted with NYOMCO.
Against the misconception or perception of many Nigerians that we are against the privatization that was done earlier. No, we are not against. We want to perfect it. Where there was mistake, we need to fix it.
Has any due diligence been actually done before going to this modified concession agreement? Well, they said it's now going on after the signing. So,
members of the Joint Committee said all stakeholders, including the federal government, should go back to the drawing board, examine prevailing circumstances, and find a lasting solution. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Izumba, NT News.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, is strengthening its commitment towards the fight against illiteracy among the girl child in Nigeria. To this effect, the organization has appointed 2 goodwill ambassadors to conduct its affairs for the realization of the objective in different regions of the country. Science correspondent Kirian Umayo reports.
The newly appointed UNESCO ambassadors, Fatima Abdurrahman and Patience Horsfall Obuza, are advocates of the project in Rivers State and the FCT. Professor Gidado Tahil urged them to fight any hindrance that stands on the way of providing the girl child with quality education.
We thank the Rivers State government for giving us this wonderful lady who is here, and the FCT for giving us Hadia, because we have seen, your backgrounds and the kind of contribution that you have made in the sector, in this particular sector, education sector in general. And particularly, the relationship that you have with the government and the people of the River State as well as that of the FCT.
Talking about focusing on girl child education and the education of women. And the women are the ones mostly who raise the children. And so I feel that with the terms of reference I have in my appointment here, God will help me so that we be able to get relevant agencies who are expected to fund these projects to do so.
I've put in my best to see that the education of the girl child in the Federal Capital Territory is really encouraged and improved.
This is NTA International News coming to you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. There will be more news shortly after this break. Please stay with us.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Thank you for being there. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the World Humanitarian Day, the emphasis is on greater demand for commitment to and demand for humanitarian services. This was re-echoed after a solidarity walk organized by the National Emergency Management Agency to commemorate the day in Abuja. Olajide Bello has the rest of the story.
The United Nations General Assembly resolution designated 19th August every year as the World Humanitarian Day, aimed at paying tribute to those who have lost their lives as well as celebrating the spirit of those who have surmounted threats of life while rendering humanitarian services. This year, the United Nations and its partners are calling for global solidarity for the more than 130 million people around the world who need humanitarian assistance to survive.
There are people with various challenges who require, special attention. Therefore, those micro plan that has been developed will address those critical issues, will ensure that all those who require special needs, are being attended to.
Malnutrition in terms of the IDPs has been greatly managed.
We want to demonstrate that and tell the whole world that a lot of people out there need our service.
To really acknowledge the work humanitarians generally, government, local humanitarian actors, private sector, and also international partners.
Oxfam will, by the end of next year, reach out to 1.5 million.
In commemoration of the 2016 Humanitarian Day, the National Emergency Management Agency put together a walk. This is to show solidarity from men and women of valor who have, in one way or the other, contributed immensely in terms of humanitarian services. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The long-awaited Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Commission, established to provide respite to communities often ravaged by overflow of dams in Nigeria, will soon become operational. This is the fallout of a meeting of governors of the affected states.
As soon as the commission fully take off.
States under the commission comprised of Kebbi, Kwara, Kogi, Niger, and Plateau, with its secretariats located in Minna, Niger State. Fatima Ali, NTA News.
And the security matters now. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has inaugurated the third Alpha Jet aircraft of the Nigerian Air Force, which was weaponized locally. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma, who was at the Air Force Base, Kainji, in Niger State, reports that the aircraft has just completed its test flight. The Chief of Air Staff says the introduction of another Alpha Jet is to boost counter-terrorism operations of the Nigerian military. Details of this report will come in our subsequent bulletins. The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BORN, says it is set to sanitize and reposition the media industry in order to ensure professionalism. Chairman of BORN, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, who is also the Director General of the NTA, said these are the inauguration of the Society of Nigeria Broadcasters in Ibadan. Correspondent Rufia Anima Shaun reports.
It was a gathering brought together by Ratawu in conjunction with Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria with the aim of providing a professional and regulatory council for broadcasters in the country. Chairman, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, who was represented, said the strategy for resuscitation is bringing in seasoned broadcasters in Ratawu, from which future members are drawn to create a roadmap and breathe a new life into broadcasting.
What we want to avoid or probably eliminate is free entry and free exit into this profession.
National President Ratawu Dr. Yemisi Bangboshi called on the National Assembly to give a sympathetic hearing to the bill when it is presented to the legislature.
As long as that is your field, you are also a member of society.
So I don't have any doubt that they will sit down and do really a good work to establish the standards that everybody who wants to be a broadcaster will be subjected to.
A coordinator of media organizations from each state was later selected to relate with each other in the zone. In Ibadan, Rafia Animation, NTA News.
The United States Secretary of State, John Kerry, is to visit Nigeria next week. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs indicates that Mr. Kerry will pay a courtesy visit to President Muhammadu Buhari and hold bilateral talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, as well as meet some northern governors and religious leaders in the context of the Nigerian government's counter-terrorism efforts. And Basi Taikman is standing by for reports from other parts of the globe.
President Mugabe has cancelled a visit to Ghana to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award for leading the Southern African state to independence in 1980. Ghana's President John Mahama was due to give the award to Mugabe at a function in the capital Accra this Saturday. Mugabe, 92, has ruled the country since independence and has vowed to remain in power until he dies, rejecting calls from some of his former comrades to step down. And from Germany comes a report that German Chancellor says there is no reason to lift the EU sanctions against Russia. This, she says, is because Moscow has not fulfilled all its commitments under the Minsk peace plan. The German leader added that she is working with the French president to implement the Minsk ceasefire agreement despite all the difficulties. The Mexican government's human rights body has accused the police in that country of killing 22 people in extrajudicial executions in a raid on a drug cartel last year. The human rights group, which says the police attempted a cover-up, demanded an improvement in policing standards and end to rampant killings. Basi Taikban, NTA News.
And now to sports. Nigeria still hunting for medals as the women relay team runs in the final Saturday morning. Plus, Usain Bolt wins again. Here is Amanzi Marcos with a sports update.
Nigeria's Olympic football team have put behind their Wednesday 0-2 loss to Germany, with focus now on the bronze medal match with
Check out Saturday's weather prospect for Nigeria and some world cities. We apologize for the inability to bring audio from that weather prospect. To end the news, a recap of our top stories. You heard that Nigeria and Mali have agreed to foster closer ties towards tackling terrorism. And the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma, has said that the Buhari's administration has the political will to turn around Nigeria's economy.